Love your show, so it's going to be wonderful to get to sit and talk to you.
Thank you. Well, why are you here? What was it about Guys and Dolls that brought you here? Dance, I guess, your first love.
Guys and Dolls is one of the reasons I fell in love with the theater when I was young. It's one of the most amazing scores, if not the most brilliant score and book ever written. It's a fabulous story, you know, with intertwining lives, and the book and the songs incredibly seamless. But this, Michael Grandage's treatment of this and Rob's choreography, this is the grittiest, most realistic production that's ever been done. And I heard about it in the beginning. They actually talked to me about doing it in the beginning, but I was off doing a movie, so I couldn't originate Nathan Detroit. So it came up to get to come to the West End stage after all these years. As Nathan Detroit, and it just felt like the perfect match. I've always loved this show. I love both roles, Sky Masterson and Nathan, and wanted to see what I could do with him.
I guess it's also, is it also instant gratification because you have the audience there, you don't have to wait for months to see how the movie turns out?
There's nothing like it, you know, because I was literally born onto the stage, grew up with kings and queens and giants and fairies and goblins being my babysitters, sleeping in theater seats from the time I was little, because my mother is a choreographer, so she's choreographed just about every musical ever written. And over the years, I've gone back to the stage, and One Last Dance, Lisa, is my dance movie that originally was called Without a Word. We originated on stage and won a lot of awards for it. So periodically you get back to the stage, and there's nothing that replaces it as an actor. That immediate, you know, feedback, and that opportunity to play off an audience and change things every performance, and seeing what works and what doesn't, and don't get into this sort of rote delivery, but keep that sense of discovery and exploration every performance. And this is the perfect show to do it in, because the moment as Nathan Detroit I step out on that stage, it's like being shot out of a cannon. Once I go, with whatever energy I'm there with. Last night it was the boyish Nathan. The performance before, it was the cool, suave, in control Nathan. And so I never know where I'm going to go.
Tonight? How is it going to be?
I won't know till I step on stage. You know, because as soon as I step on that stage, it's just bam, 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 bam. This guy just feeling all these different things, and you know, he's a talker. He's a shuckster and a jiver, and
it sounds like something takes over you when you get in the role, though, and you're not quite sure what it is.
It's true, and it's actually the first role I've ever found to where I never know what I'm going to do next. And as an actor, that's what you strive for. You know, I mean, people say, well, he's got that sense of danger or that unpredictability. It's like, and I think it's less that and more doing all your work, doing the research, knowing your intentions, knowing where you're coming from and why, and do you love this woman? Don't you love this woman? How much do you love this? How do you love this woman? You know, and doing all the work, and then having, like, when the camera rolls or when you step on stage, having the courage to throw it out the window and just let whim take you. You know.
You talked there about your mother, the choreographer, and how you're born for the stage in a way. I was struck when I was reading about your background, your early years. It sounded to me like the Billy Elliot story, only in Texas. I mean, somebody who's born to dance against a society which doesn't entirely understand why guys want to dance.
My younger years were really hard. I mean, that's the reason my father started me in Golden Glove boxing and martial arts, and you know, yeah, I got beat up by a lot of rednecks when I was little, and hospitalized once, and then made a determination that no one was ever going to do that to me again. Actually, at 13, I had an opportunity to learn a big lesson. I decided, you know what, I'm going to quit the arts and start talking it down, and just so I could fit in. And I did that, and it didn't change anything, because I'd been involved with it at all in my life. The ridicule and the violence and the hassles continued, and I made a decision at 13 years old that I was never going to let anyone stop me from going for or believing in what I believe in ever again.
What was it about the dance that got to you? Was it the athleticism, the grace, or what was the spark there?
Well, you know, I don't remember a time not being in love with dance and music and everything from the Ramsey Lewis Jazz Trio to opera or classical. And so needless to say, having a mother as a choreographer, there is not one form, one style of music that I didn't fall in love with from the time I was little. But there was something about when you step on stage and something happens to you and something communicates through you. And I really believe dance is the truest form of communication. It's our oldest form of worship. From dancing to beating logs around a fire. There's just something. I would have to admit that no matter how far I go as an actor,
I mean, that must have been an incredible blow, given the background that you were talking about, and overcoming hostility and people saying, "Oh, he's a sissy in Texas, we don't dance."
Well, you know, you have to understand. Also in Texas, I had scholarships to college in football, track, swimming, diving, and gymnastics. Scholarships with every major ballet company in New York. Recording contract offers in my teens, around the B.J. Thomas time. Oh, I just dated myself, didn't I? So I had all these. It was a hard decision to decide to go to New York and dance, as opposed to. Well, I did go to college on the gymnastics team for a little while. Then took off with Disney on Parade, and then came back and was ice skating. Had the opportunity to skate with the Holiday on Ice and Ice Follies at one point. And then I decided, no, I have to go to New York and dance. Now that may have been because I'd already gotten my knee blown out in high school, and I decided, no, the dance is, you know, it was the epitome of what the human body could do physically. And it seems like at different points in my life, something has happened to spur me on to the next, I think, right phase in my life. You know, it was the right timing for me to move into out of musical theater and out of the ballet and move into my life as an actor. My mother taught me and all the kids and all her students that you could never hope to be an artist unless you were well versed in every level of the arts, as a dancer, as a singer, as an actor, but when I left dance, it was a whole different journey for me, because my years in musical theater I really considered were sort of the school of presentational acting. And once you get into film, all of a sudden it's got to get very, very real if you want it to work.
Very, very real, but also it's a kind of unreal world. I mean, you were entering this very peculiar world of Hollywood, where one minute you're the greatest star that there has ever been, and the next minute, who are you? I mean, it's like that for everybody, isn't it?
I think I'm on the fifth refocusing of Patrick Swayze's career, and this is a fun one. How do I turn into a mature leading man? You know, I mean, God, if I could be Sean Connery, it'd be a dream.
Well, you've got a few years yet to be Sean Connery. I talked to Penelope Cruz about dance and so on, and she said, well, the great thing about acting was there wasn't so much pain and suffering compared to ballet.
That's true.
Is that true?
That's very true.
It's not exactly an easy life, but physically it means you don't have the sore feet so much.
But the dance world teaches you something. As much as, if taken negative, it can be not a good thing. But the concept of suffer for your art, pay your dues, and then it takes me into Texas cliches. Only the strong survive. Nobody said it was going to be easy. If it's worth having, it's worth working for. I live by these things in my life. And the only reason I feel I ever got a job stepping in a casting session with 50 other guys better looking than I was because while they were looking in the mirror, I knew how to train. I was studying, I was working, I was learning a craft, I was experimenting, I was succeeding, I was failing. And when you get into that head, born out of the dance world, there is no high, there is no low about a career. It's about a process. And that process never ends. And that's the fun part about this career. I'm having a blast in my career at this point. Once I got out of what I called the blockbuster box office mentality and started playing wild zen-like surfers and messed up doctors in India and drag queens and pedophiles and anything that my insides, felt challenged to do, that's when my career started really getting fun. It's not necessarily the history-making movies that have given me a 30-year career so far. It's really been the cult-following movies, The Roadhouse, The Point Break, The Next of Kin, The Outsiders, and now City of Joy, and now Tu Wong Fu, playing a drag queen. I mean, it's got giant crowds, still watching it in the theater. At this point in life, though, with this process in this career, what I am filled with is a great deal of gratitude. I really appreciate fans giving me a career this long and seeming like they want to keep watching.
in all its various facets. I was really struck by some of your reviews. You'll hate this probably, or maybe not.
No.
I don't know. Dirty Dancing, of course, everybody associates you with that. But it was said of you, you had the feline grace of Brando, the vulnerability of Dean, and a touch of pure 80s irony. Or there was another one, another movie. Not since Valentino did his tango in The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse has been such a confident display of male sexuality. Well, that's not bad, is it, for a guy beaten up for dancing in Texas?
It's not bad. I tell you, I'm fooling somebody for a while, aren't I?
But it was some of those films, the feline grace and so on. Women loved it. I mean, some women went to see Dirty Dancing. It was said 50 times. Is that true? I guess it must be.
What?
That they went to see it over and over and over again.
Oh no! 10 years ago, there was the 100+ Club. Women that had seen it in theaters over 100 times. So that movie's a phenomenon. You know, I mean, so many people think that's the movie that launched me, and it's really not. That's the movie that sent my life and world into hyperspace. It was really The Outsiders and North and South that seriously launched my career in the first place. Dirty Dancing just took it into insanity. But and then Ghost, you know, and
Ghost is a similar, in some ways, it's a similar kind of story. It's a very romantic, and you have a very physical presence in both movies, which I
sort of am torn between guy movies and heart movies, and I love when you can find that blend.
How did you handle? You talked about the madness of all this in a way. But how did you handle fame? Because I know you've talked about fame as being incredibly alienating, was your words. Did you feel unlike other people, or what?
I don't think. Yeah, I sort of. Whether it was that I was taught, I always have said that I graduated from pre-God school. You know, everything had to be perfect in my life. You know, if you're going to do it, you're going to be the best. And I love that perfection mentality. It just gave me such a sense of drive. But when you apply that to your emotional life, not a good thing. So you have to learn how to separate those kinds of energies in your life, especially when you're an intense personality. But I don't think anybody can prepare themselves for fame. I mean, I don't know if you know, early on when you're just in the process of trying to accomplish, you know, certain goals, can you have any real inkling of the loneliness that comes in, that you can go nowhere anymore? You have to literally replace a life with a life. You have to, being a very outgoing, people-loving person, you have to learn to like quiet, like being by yourself, and that's where horses and animals and you know, came into my life.
Your ranch, you put a ranch.
You know, getting on a horse and disappearing into the mountains is my soul rejuvenation. It is me and my dogs and my horse and my pack horse, and just go away.
Why does it disconnect you so much? Why do you find it alienating in the sense that? I mean,
well, look at the quotes you just read. Do you think I consider myself to be that? You know.
So people put you on this God pedestal, and you know you're not that.
And they love shooting you down off of it too.
Yes.
But they love putting you back up there if you earn it. And I like earning it. You know, I like to shoot me down. You know, come on, I'll be back.
You understand, because of your personal experience, what Mel Gibson has been going through too, don't you? I mean,
yeah.
the drink, and then behaving really badly and doing some stupid things, saying stupid things. You're a friend of his.
Yeah, I've known Mel a lot of years, and I've really said all I'm going to say. I mean, and sure enough, the press take it as Patrick Swayze's Mel's defender. Not true. You know, when you screw up, you got to pay the piper. You know, and then when you look, Mel said some very stupid things. Does he believe them? I don't know. I've never thought he would, and I hope not. If he does, get in some therapy right now. You know what I mean? Fix yourself. Change these things. The only reaction I had about people jumping on Mel is, oh, look, the newest sacrificial lamb. You know, we love to burn people at the stake. And you understand, especially when you got terrorists getting ready to, blow up planes, from London to the, United States, and we're focusing on this. Yet, I think for his statements, every Jew in the world deserves to be not too happy.
Maybe Tom Cruise is the latest sacrificial lamb, and use your phrase, and he's the next one that's been kind of knocked off his pedestal and dropped. I mean, it is that kind of world, isn't it? One minute you're box office, the next minute you're, for some reason, not. Maybe the next minute you are.
But I've sort of refocused my career so many times. I don't really take it all too seriously. The press are going to do what they're going to do. Hopefully, with this reality TV mentality and the world going for nothing but anything that's surface, I hope that changes soon. I hope our standards, I hope our levels of integrity and morality and passion and beliefs upgrade themselves pretty soon. I've always had a real faith in the audience, and it's just like making a career on movies that touch your heart in some way.
That's, to go back to the early part of our conversation, that is presumably why in Donnie Darko you chose the very different role of a pedophile, very unsympathetic role, the drag queen and so on. I mean, did you feel that you had to, it's not about the money, it's not about the running away from explosions and these huge Hollywood box office things, it's about doing something that's much more demanding for you?
I've never been about the money, ever. I've always been about, I have to have a sense of passion and a sense of purpose in my life, or that little bird dies inside of me. And I think it's all of our job to keep that little bird of innocence alive, and to keep the cynicism out, because the world wants to make us all very, very cynical and destroy everything there is worth believing in. I mean, even movies are now starting to attack our faith, and it's like, oh, what are we doing to ourselves? It's like, okay, great, I mean, a certain level of irreverence is fabulous. It's a great key to awareness, but take it too far and it becomes destructive. Same thing with alcohol. Same thing with an obsessive personality. You got to direct these things. You can direct negative energy in a fabulous way if you just be like a mirror, just like martial arts, just like Aikido. Don't meet force with force. Go with the force, and it's yours to do with what you will. And I think that's also a good metaphor for life.
I noticed you pointed at yourself when you said the words obsessive personality.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm a driven being. I get into something, I'm like a pit bull. You have to kill me to get me off. I really love what I do, and when I love it, when I love a person, I am your loyal best friend to the death, and I'm just like a good lap dog.
Where does that come from? Where does that obsessive thing come from?
I think it's just innate in people. I mean, I've always had the desire to be something, to accomplish something, to count for something, and also it's interesting with fame, and the more I accomplish, it never ends. You reach a goal. I mean, the best way to screw up somebody's life is give them what they want. You reach a goal, it's like, wow, why isn't this enough? And you have to make up a new goal, and another one, and another one. It's just like looking at issues in your life. When you study human nature, so many people get stopped with one obstacle right here, and if you just look over that obstacle, you can realize, wow, there's a whole lot more. Get this one past. Deal in quantities of obstacles. And so in concept, you can handle different energies that exist in you. And so I've turned this obsessive personality into a system to accomplish things I want to accomplish in my life. Otherwise, if you don't, with people in life, if you let it turn in on itself, that's a scary thing. That's not pretty. That's Pandora's box.
I can see why you and Hollywood fit bits together sometimes, and sometimes just don't fit.
I phase in and out of Hollywood.
Somebody on this program once described Hollywood movies nowadays as the world's best paid people running away from explosions. You wouldn't like that, would you? I mean, it just wouldn't do it for you.
No. Quickly I realized if you get sucked into the game, in the consciousness of Hollywood, it's like with fame, an actor believing the hype. If you dare believe the hype, it's the beginning of the end. You have to always, that's the reason I have animals in my life. When I'm with my stallion, if I'm not 100% accounted for and present, I might as well get away from him, because he'll know it. He'll smell it, and he'll get me off of him. So my animals in my life have become an incredible emotional barometer for me. They tell me whether I'm full of it or not. They let me know if I'm okay or not okay. But also it comes down to, jump on the wagon or don't. And so many of us don't jump on the wagon because of fear. And I think fear is just another concept. fear can become your friend. You can learn to use it and make it work for you.
In what way?
In relationships and everything. If you're scared of a relationship, jump into it. You know, fall in love. Learn how to fall in love. It's like life imitates art. It's just like, you know, the key to Lisa and I being together so long is we've gotten really inventive at learning how to fall in love over and over and over again, and never taking each other for granted, and reinvention and a sense of play and deeper levels of friendship.
That's very un-Hollywood as well. What are you doing there?
That's true. Yeah, well, we also, you know, we call our ranch Rancho Bizarro, so, you know, we consider our world to be a little strange up against the usual standards.
So I saw an absolutely wonderful quote, because I'm determined to torture you with these quotes. This is from you. You talked about your career refocusing in the past, and you said you were trying to figure out how to orchestrate a career that moves forward like a freight train and doesn't kill you in the process.
I said that sounds like me. I'm a very OTT sort of statement maker.
But it hasn't killed you in the process, but I'm not sure whether you think it moves forward or it doesn't, does it? It does all kinds of strange directions.
It dances, and you have to go with it, but also you have to manipulate it too. You if you want the kind of career you want, you can't keep going down the same path. You know, like each time I'd be going down a certain path with the Roadhouse and Next of Kin's and that kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm going to turn into the action dude. I'll never get out of it. Oh, Dirty Dancing, I'm going to turn into the sexy romantic dude, you know, or the dance dude, and I'll never get out of it.
So you choose to be a drag queen instead?
Yeah, just surprise yourself.
Patrick Swayze, thank you.